Hey guys, welcome back to Hike Oregon. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how much water to take on your backpacking trips. If you are new here, welcome to the Hike Oregon family. I make hiking and backpacking vlogs as well as gear reviews and just general tips and tricks videos to help you become a more confident hiker and backpacker. If you enjoy content like that, click that red subscribe button and the notification bell so that you are notified every time I make a new video. And if you want more content from me, you can support me over on Patreon, where for as little as just $1, you get 2 extra videos a month. So let's get into today's video. When I go backpacking, I have struggled with knowing how much water to take. There are so many different circumstances that will vary, but I'm just gonna go over some basic tips that I have learned through my backpacking experiences. So when I think about backpacking and water consumption, the most knowledgeable people that I can think of are PCT thru hikers. Early on in their journey, they are in the desert section, so depending on their start date, oftentimes they are struggling with where to get water, how much to carry, and that kind of stuff. So by the time they are through the desert section, they really have it down pat. So the general rule that I've heard from thru hikers is that you want to take about a liter for every 5 miles that you're hiking. Now, that's going to probably be a little bit less if you are hiking when it's overcast or cold out, but that's the general rule for like summer backpacking. So let's say you're at a trailhead and you're gonna go 15 miles that day, and on the map, you're not seeing any water sources throughout the day. You're going to want to take at least 3 liters of water. So 3 liters for a like 12 to 15 mile hike, that is right around the amount that I would consume on a daily basis when I'm day hiking and backpacking. Things become a little bit more complicated if you are having to dry camp. So let's say after these 15 miles, you are camping somewhere where there is no water source. Let's say there's a water source like 5 miles down the way the next day. So then you're going to have to make sure to have at least half to 1 liter for the next day for those 5 miles to your next water source. And then you're going to want to keep in mind that you're likely to have to rehydrate a backpacker meal unless you're not cooking at camp. And that usually takes around 1 to 2 cups of water. And then the next day for breakfast, if you're having oatmeal, you're going to want a little bit of water for the oatmeal, and then for your coffee or whatever your preferred morning beverage of choice is. I usually keep right around a liter or so, liter and a half maybe, for that whole process. Also, if I have to like wash my dishes and stuff like that, I would say a liter and a half. And then of course, if you want anything to drink overnight, I know when I go backpacking, generally at night I wake up and I am parched, so I will drink throughout the night. For night and morning and for your camp, take safely 2 liters if you're dry camping, and then of course that extra liter or however much to your next water source. So unfortunately, if you are backpacking 15 miles in and dry camping, you are probably taking about 5 liters of water, which is pretty darn heavy and not something that I love doing, but I have done plenty of times. The summer of 2022, I dry camped a lot, and I definitely have a little bit of fear of dry camping because it just stresses me out a little. It worries me. It really worries me to be without water. You know, if you accidentally spill your water bottle or your water bladder that you're keeping your extra water in gets punctured and all your water spills everywhere. I don't know, it's just really scary to me to be without water. But there's many scenarios where you have to dry camp. You just don't have an option. You can't go certain mileage, or there's no place to camp at the creek. There are just so many scenarios where you might have to dry camp. Before I had all this experience with dry camping and before I talked to some thru hikers, I was definitely a lot more afraid of it. I have gained so much more knowledge now and so much more experience. So I think the more you do it, the easier easier it gets and the better you can judge how much water you're really actually going to need. For me, because I have a little bit of anxiety around it, I always try to make sure I take just a little bit more than I need, you know, because let's say I'm with someone and they spill their water bottle or something like that. Especially in the summer, you don't want to be in a scenario where you are getting dehydrated, right? Some tips I have for you for staying hydrated and not going through your water at a crazy rate: to take gum and hard candy while you're backpacking. That really helps me while I'm walking because I'm, you know, breathing through my mouth. And maybe try and breathe more through your nose too. But, you know, when I'm breathing heavy, I'm generally breathing through my mouth, and therefore my mouth dries out and then I feel like I want water. And so I'm just constantly sipping on my water, which I mean is good for my body, but it's sometimes just not necessary. So to make sure that your mouth isn't just constantly dry, gum really helps, and then some hard candy like Jolly Ranchers or Lifesavers or something like that is really nice just to pop in and be able to suck on while you are hiking. And then to go along with water is replenish your electrolytes on a daily basis. When you are hiking and backpacking in the summer, you are sweating a ton and your electrolytes get depleted, and then if you are just chugging water, you're actually not rehydrating your body without consuming some sort of electrolytes. So I love the electrolyte gummies. I love electrolyte powder. There's so many different ways to replenish your electrolytes, so just make sure you are doing that. And then another tip I have for you guys is that when you are at the water sources, camel up. For me personally, it's really hard for me to just sit there and chug like a liter of cold water. But what helps me to camel up is putting some lemonade or something in the water, and then it's really easy for me to just chug a liter of water. By the time I leave the water source, I feel really, really replenished, and I don't actually have to drink from the water that I'm carrying for quite some time. I hope this quick video helped you guys feel a little bit more confident about how much water to carry when you're backpacking, and also what to do if you are in a scenario where you have to dry camp. If you personally have any tips and tricks on dry camping or anything like that, please leave it in the comments below. I know everyone who watches these types of videos loves reading other people's personal experience and gaining more knowledge that way as well. If you don't already, go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. That's where I post all of my recent hiking and backpacking adventures. And if you want to hike and backpack here in this incredible state of Oregon, check out my website, hikeoregon.net, and you'll find tons of information there, as well as have access to the hiking guidebooks that I've written over the years. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next adventure.